White Lightning, the Concrete Canyon, the Monster Mile, Dover Downs. Welcome to Dover, Delaware. We are here at the first state for race number 13 of the 2023 Trinity River Cup Series season. And with 20 races left in the season, we arrive here at the Dover Motor Speedway for the Hersheypark 400. This race was 63 laps last year. It was 80 in seasons 2 and 3, and we're bumping it back up to 80 this year just because of how good that race was last year. And we'll see how the race goes for 80 laps here in this one. Joined alongside Matt Tuck for the call of today's race here on the Trinity River Network. Matt, thank you for joining me in the booth for this one. What can we expect here coming into this race today?
Well, it'll definitely be an exciting one here at the Concrete Mile. That's always somehow managed to turn more interesting racing in NR than in the real world, unfortunately. But the tire wear is always high here, and track position always somehow comes out to be the most important thing here. You can see a good amount of passing, but those front guys are always going to have that clean air and that track position, and it's going to play oh so important today.
I believe it will. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here throughout the 80-lap affair here at the Concrete Canyon. Let's take a look at your point standings coming in. It is Mr. Monaco, Eric Monaco, leading the championship standings, 315 towards the championship, 6 ahead of John Andrews, 9 ahead of Chase Buck, 12 ahead of Roberto Crown Jr., 15 ahead of Elijah Gordon, 18 ahead of Braden Perez, 20 ahead of Jacob Thibodeau, 21 ahead of Sebastian Kukulon, 22 ahead of Alex Lozano, rounding out the top 10 in the championship standings. It is Christian Vargas, who is 28 points back from Eric Monaco. The biggest point swing you can have in a single race is 44 points, and coming into this one, 13 drivers within 44 points of Eric Monaco's championship lead. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here at Dover. It's going to be a wild one for sure. And it's time to get these cars rolling off the pit road here at Dover Motor Speedway. It is rookie Max Sterling with his first pole position on the season for Logan Sport. He starts this one alongside Phoenix winner Steven Colon. Row 2, we find arguably the most cursed car on the grid, Alex Lozano in the next quick Ferrari for Hoskin Motorsports. Starting alongside Mitchell Collins in the Pennzoil, number 43. Round number 3, we find a Velocity car, Mitchell Henderson, carrying the body armor colors today. He starts alongside Andrew Williams, the Wisconsinites. Row 4, we find Brock Nelson, last year's Brickyard 400 winner, starting alongside Sebastian Kukulon, who has 4 career wins to his name that went for points. He's looking for number 5 today. Rounding out the top 10, Dale Lightning, whose last win came in November of 2020. He starts this one alongside Atlanta winner John Andrews. Matt, a lot of really good drivers up there. Who do you think is going to go to victory lane here at the Monster Mile?
Well, I am certainly not going to make the mistake of picking my own driver to win, as we know how that is. So I'm going to pick a fellow Honda, though, and I'm going to say the 73 of Brock Nelson gets it done today.
Good pick. Brock Nelson looking to put a 1 in the win column this season. We'll see how it goes. Welcome in, everybody. We hope you enjoy the race. The Hersheypark 400 is green from Dover. Through the turn 3 and 4 area, it is pole sitter Max Sterling leading lap number 1 of the Hersheypark 400 here at Dover. Lozano in second, Collins settles into third. Brock Nelson up to the 4th position already, and teammates side by side for 5th. It's Caleb Rose on the inside of Mitchell Henderson.
And needless to say the least, we've certainly, unfortunately, seen these two have some interesting times racing each other this year, but 3 Hondas up here in the top 6, so they're very well represented and have a strong platform to race off of today, but those top 2, the 17 and the 57, just absolutely taken off here early on in the going.
A lot of shuffling going on, third on back in the early couple of laps. Big slide back here by Christian Vargas on the inside of Thomas Truxell. Elijah Gordon and Mitchell Collins sideways coming out of the turn, but able to save it. Elijah Gordon who comes into this race 5th in the championship standings, battling the guy who comes in last in the championship standings. This is side by side for the 5th position right now. And Caleb Rose looking to make his presence known, as behind him, very tight 3 wide racing with a couple of EL Alpine teammates on the inside of Sebastian Kukulon.
But they are slicing and dicing all through the field here. Kukulon did not have as good of a qualify. Oh my goodness.
That was very close. Coming out of turn number 2, Kukulon just about punted the 91 of Priya McShane, the Oskin Motorsports driver with Coca-Cola on the hood. Just absolute craziness going on here in the early going. We'll check in up front. It is still Max Sterling leading the way. He's led all the laps so far. The rookie, the only rookie to not win a race this season so far. Actually, McClure has 2. Brandon Hayes won last week at Iowa. So Max Sterling looking to join them and get a 1 in the win column for the boss man, Logan Williams. But Alex Lozano looking to get Oskin Motorsports their first win of this season, first win of their existence in a points-paying race. Big gain coming out of turn number 4.
57 is absolutely flying here in the early going. I didn't want to pick a Ferrari to win the race today because we know how that can go, unfortunately, at times. But the 57 of Lozano here is just absolutely staying right pace with Sterling, who's also showing a lot of strong pace in that Renault Alpine machine out in front here so far. And then you still got the 2 Hondas just lurking around minding their own business. And then Elijah Gordon's cleared as this pack is really starting to... Everybody's starting to slow down, settle into their groove a bit. Obviously, the tire wear is the tires are gonna start to fall off here. So guys are just starting to settle in here as this run starts to go green. But as we see Caleb Rose in the 15, he's trying to put.
Oh my goodness! Sideways and save it. As you see, Scott Upton coming out of the pit road. Looks like about 3 or 4 cars came down. 3 cars came into the pits. Jacob Thibodeau, Scott Upton, and Kyle McLeese saw him just a little bit ago in the iRacing colors, sitting in the pit stall. He's 2 laps down, as up front for the race lead. Here comes Alex Lozano to the inside, and looks like easily is going to take that spot away from Max Sterling. That's the spot where you should expect the most overtaking for the lead to occur, heading off into turn 1, though it can happen over in turn 3, so we'll have to see how this race goes. The tires are definitely starting to wear, as here's Sterling back to the inside, not letting Lozano get away that easy.
No, Sterling and Lozano have very strong cars here in the early going, and as these two start to battle, look here at this machine of Brock Nelson in the 73. He's just been able to chase them down. As I say that, he slides up the racetrack. But this battle is raging on here for the front as these two are putting on a show. And it's about to be a 4-car battle here for the lead here as we see Mitchell Henderson is also closing his way in on a strong run here early in the going.
A couple of Hondas there chasing down a Ferrari and a Renault. It's a Nissan rounding out the top 5. Elijah Gordon, 5th in the championship points coming in. He's still looking for win number 1 on the season, the 2nd of his career. Last one coming back in last March at the Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. Lap 14 underway here at Dover. Lozano taking another peek on the backside of Max Sterling, heading down the back straightaway into turn number 3. If Sterling makes one mistake, Lozano is right there to pounce. Oh, but a big slide up in the middle groove in turn 3 and 4 as here comes Mitchell Henderson down to the inside. He's had some atrocious luck this year, and he's trying to get around a fellow Honda compatriot, Brock Nelson, for Ryan Durrani Incorporated. They're still side by side heading into 3.
That's a strong effort from Henderson in the 53 and from his teammate Caleb Rose, and I appreciate, Nelson and Elijah Gordon keeping them separated from each other, at least for now. We'll see how this progresses. Nelson must have really cooked his tires up there trying to chase down Lozano and Sterling as the top 2 there, because you can see he's just starting to get shuffled back here really heavily. I give credit to Max Sterling there as well. Was under an immense amount of pressure there from Alex Lozano. Lost the lead there for a moment and then just fought right back, stayed calm, and put that machine back out in front there. And that 17 Logitech Alpine is absolutely flying here in the early going. And it's going to be interesting now to see how some of these guys start to, as we'll eventually get into pit cycles, the pit cycle here. It will be interesting to see how some of these guys here, third, fourth, fifth on back, want to start working their way to get closer towards the front and gain more track position, as it's not looking, early on, it is not looking like we are going to have a lot of cautions today.
I don't believe we will. It was one yellow flag last year. In Season 3, it went caution-free. So Dover's not been a track that has produced a whole bunch of cautions. It's fairly clean so far, but it's been good stuff here so far, the Monster Mile. Expect the pit cycle, by the way, speaking of that, about the early to mid 40s it should range. So it should be just a one-stop race. This big dive by Alex Lozano. Caught back up to the back of the 17 of Max Sterling, and they're side by side for the lead, a quarter of the way through this Hersheypark 400 at Dover, and Lozano noses ahead out of corner number 2.
That 57 came to play here today. Lozano got a huge run off the corner. He's going to slide up the racetrack, throw a block a bit on the 17, and Sterling can't do anything for now, but Sterling's got a fast car. Oh,
bump
almost
him!
Touched, I think.
I think he bumped him. I think he actually hit him, headed off into the turn. This is great racing we're seeing here at the Monster Mile. 25% through this race. Sterling takes the lead back, replicates what happened a few laps ago. Lozano got ahead for one lap, and then Sterling got right back around, but here comes Lozano again. Oh, this is fantastic.
Just replicating each other. One guy slides up, one guy goes back, does the crossover, one guy comes back into 3 and 4 and slides up again, as they're just absolutely going at it here on only lap 22 of this 80-lap race. And now let's see what Lozano can do. This is going to be his first chance to clear Max Sterling and really see if he can maybe open up a gap here. And don't look now, that's 76, or I can't read the number, the 76 of Elijah Gordon, my bad. He's closed his way right up in here thanks to these two battling so hard.
Lozano has pulled away mightily ahead of Max Sterling. He slides a little wide through 3 and 4, though, as did Caleb Rose in 4th place. It's side-by-side a little further back. It's a 3-car battle between Nelson, Perez, and Cologne. Perez with a win at the Daytona Road Course this year. Nelson hasn't won yet this year. Cologne with the win at Phoenix, and it'll be Braden Perez with the advantage over the 73 and 12 for the time being. Up ahead, it's still Lozano leading the way, but looks like Sterling is closing in. Again, the tires are really, really worn at this point, so I would imagine you already see the pace slowing up. But the slipping and sliding that we've seen, I honestly can't tell you if that's going to be magnified here in the tail end of this run, or they're going to be fairly planted into the ground, but we'll just have to see how it goes here these final 15 laps before we get to halfway, and then Pandora's box opens in the pit area.
Well, and it will get interesting too, especially think later in the race when these guys start battling each other on even more worn tires. Oh, there goes the 15 up the racetrack. That was a huge slide out of Rose, lost some time there. Yeah, this pit cycle here will be very crucial, because with these guys still being able to maintain so close together, it's going to make coming down and doing the undercut or versus staying out and overcutting an extra lap or two very important come the end of this race, both for track position and for tire wear. As you can see, the 17 starting to fade on the tires. The 53 of Henderson I saw in the background is fading on his tires as well. So just a lot of guys starting, and you're seeing the tire fade here slowly work its way in here.
And it's going to be magnified even further as this run goes along, as Gordon right up to the backside of Sterling. Sterling got a horrible 3 and 4, but so did Gordon. They went way up the racetrack, and it allows Caleb Rose to close in ever so slightly to the back end of the number 76 Nissan of Elijah Gordon. It's still Lozano leading the way, 0.6 of a second ahead of Max Sterling the last time through. Sterling with a big slide again, going through 3 and 4. Is this the break Elijah Gordon needs? Not quite able to make the move down to the inside, but I would not be shocked if maybe Elijah could make the move happen, but he just lost a ton of momentum heading off into 1, and he's going to fall into the clutches of Caleb Rose. Here comes Caleb.
Caleb with a great run here today. And worth noting, too, KO's mired 26 in points, gained 7 spots after last week's race. Oh, hello. Who is that down pit road?
That's Chase Buck, the 45 Rockingham winner, down into the pits. Saw some damage on the right side of that car. So I wonder if he had maybe had a tire go, if he'd cut a tire. With all the damage on the right side, so who knows what happened to him.
That was definitely very interesting there to see. Not sure exactly what happened there, but now we see Rose. Rose is making this tire, must have been saving his tires early in the run, because he's able to make a couple passes here that we're just not seeing a lot of these guys late into this run doing. As you see, Elijah Gordon shoots it way up the racetrack there. Now the 05 of Christian Vargas also cleared Henderson. There goes Rose down to the bottom of the racetrack. So move Rose into second, I believe. He should get clear here. At the very least, he's going to challenge Sterling. But all this is great for Alex Lozano, who's just been able to check out and mind his own business for the time being.
And a big slide there by Rose and Sterling. Rose into the second position with the gap this time through. I imagine it's over a second. Yes, it is. 1.1 seconds for Alex Lozano ahead of Caleb Rose here on lap 34. We are sitting at 47 laps to go here in the Hersheypark 400. Hope everyone's enjoying the race so far. Lozano, a big slide again. Gordon's going to give the boot scoot as the caution's out on the front straightaway. Marty Sakala has been involved in an incident. So has Roberto Crown Jr. Chase Harris has gotten involved. So a multi-car incident in the primary corner is going to reset everything, as a little bit of a close call there. They're able to hold on to it. Harris is going to have to get around these cars here. But first caution comes out on the tail end of lap 34, and, well, I believe, I might be a little crazy, but I think this caution coming out when it did, I think it's going to make this just barely a fuel mileage run to the checkered flag. So we'll have to see how it goes. Here's Lozano and everybody else coming into the pits here at Dover. And, Andrew Williams is at the tail end of the field. He is a lap down for the time being, I do believe. But we'll see who wins the race here off of the pit road. A little bit of contact back there. Of course, we have no collisions on in the pit area, and Caleb Rose leapfrogs Alex Lozano. How about that? Great pit stop by the 15 crew.
Excellent job there by the 15. I think we saw some split strat. I'm not entirely sure. I think we might have seen a few guys do something a little different. Those could all just be lap cars, but that's a lot of cars that just managed. Brock Nelson with a terrible pit stop. That's a lot of cars that just managed to hop out in front of Caleb Rose. So I guess we'll see when the timing updates. Or they could have all just been caught a lap down, and I'm just a complete idiot, which is obviously also possible. But as you'll see here at the stripe, I think they're all just a lap down. They are.
Caleb Rose is leading. And we'll give everybody the wave around in just a second. But look at all the skid marks heading off into one. This was a multi-car incident here at the Monster Mile to bring out the first caution of the race here in the Hersheypark 400. Just when it looked like we weren't going to have any cautions before that first pit cycle, boom, there it was. Let's go back and take a look at what happened to bring out that first caution here, the Hersheypark 400 at Dover. So watching from overhead, coming out of turn number 4, Andrews into the back of Sakala. Turns the 11 down to the inside, and they'll go hard into the inside wall. Marty, a hellacious hit head on to the concrete. Andrews doesn't really smack the wall, but he sure smacked the 11 on the right side very hard, and then in behind as cars try to take evasive action. Heading off into this first turn, we're looking for the 3 of Roberto Crown Jr. for one of them. As you see the crowd of cars heading off into this turn, Brock McLeese and Hayes get by. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr. Whammo into the backside of Marty Sakala, sends the 11 airborne. Here's Jacob Thibodeau coming in, getting some big damage off the front end of Roberto Crown Jr. Chase Harris spinning off into the grass. Trey Smith comes in. John Andrews, who was involved in the initial part of the accident. Justin Zidell somehow making it through this one, just barely, in car number 83. But about a half dozen cars or so involved in this one, heading off into turn number 1. Let's take a look at full speed.
So you watch the 11 of Marty Sakala there, just oof. And that's going to be a big hit into the inside retaining wall with no safer barrier. And then it just almost a mirror of the same thing back there. And you watch Chase. Oh, that is such a huge hit. That is a huge hit for Marty Sakala there in the 11 and the 3 as well. And all those drivers involved there. And some great wreck. To be fair, shout out to these leaders here. That is some great wreck avoidance to not hit that 54. But tough way to end the day for some of these guys who are having decent runs.
Absolutely. That is such a shame the way it's going to come to an end. Marty Sakala and Roberto Crown Jr. falling out of this one here at Dover. But the first pit cycle of the race has happened, and we're likely going to have another one before this race is over with. The track is clear now, and we are good to go. So let's head to the restart here at the Monster Mile. We're back with your live picture here at the Monster Mile, the 13th race of the 5th season of the NR2003 Trinity River Cup Series, the Hersheypark 400 at Dover. Caution coming out on lap 34. Oh my goodness, no. Caleb Rose with, I don't see any smoke coming out of that car, but it could be a blown Michelin, and he's going to come into the pits leading the race after the overcut, or after the brilliant pit stop under the caution flag by his pit crew to get him up front. It is all for naught, and he is going to come into the pits, and the lead will be relinquished back to Alex Lozano. I'm sorry you had to see that.
I guess we put a Grattan Autosport engine from Phoenix in the car.
Perhaps. But the green flag is back out. 41 laps to go here at Dover. It's Lozano leading the way. Sterling, Gordon, Cologne, and Perez the top 5. Immediately, Sterling taking a look to the inside out of turn number 2. Pulls back in line. Gordon tried to take a look. Oh, big slide by Lozano. Here comes Max Sterling.
Max Sterling wanted to retake his lead here that he lost well before the caution that came out there. He's going to power his way down to the inside and back to the point. Here goes Max Sterling into 17 over Lozano. And take a look there at Steven Cologne, who's worked his way up here. We haven't talked about him much all day. Braden Perez, Thomas Troxel, bunch of new players here at the front of the field.
And here comes Lozano back to the inside. It's 2 by 2 by 2 for the top 6. Lozano into the race lead on the inside of Sterling. Perez into 3rd. Troxel, Cologne deadlocked side by side for the moment. Now Troxel pulls ahead of the 12. That is for 5th. Now going for 4th on the inside of Elijah Gordon. Thomas Troxel flies into the 4th position. Perez down to the inside for 2nd. He'll take it from Max Sterling. Sterling fading on the outside. He's got to get back down to the inside. There's no outside lane on fresh tires. Jacob Thibodeau coming out of the pits. Almost cut off his teammate Thomas Troxel.
Well, he held up his teammate Thomas Troxel's momentum because Troxel was right behind that 47. And then this 32 came up the racetrack and forced everybody to check up. And now the top 2 have absolutely set sail. Lozano and Perez are flying away from everybody. I don't know what Thibodeau thought he was doing there. That was a very questionable decision by the 32.
I don't know what he was doing either, but he's pulled up out of the way for the time being as they're 3 wide behind Henderson, Cologne, and Sterling, and behind the 32 of Jacob Thibodeau. Thibodeau is now 3 laps down. A very, very rough day for Thibodeau, but up front his teammate Braden Perez stalking the 57 of Alex Lozano out of turn number 4. We're side by side for the race lead once again at Dover.
And look at Braden Perez here, gets to run to the bottom. Lozano just left the bottom way too open. You can't do that here. Off of turn number 2 under the bridge. There goes Perez through to the race lead. And now this is where you start to kind of scratch your head, maybe if you're Lozano and some of these other guys. What do you do about this fuel number? I know you said early in the race, early to mid 40s would be the pit cycle. They pitted about lap 34. It just feels like, I know they went back to green at about lap 40, but man, that is going to be a very, very tight number to make, especially if it stays green the entire rest of the race.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see who is going to cook up what in the crucible of competition. You know that the crew chiefs are messing with that calculator, trying to make sure about what they can do and what can get them in the best position to at least get a top 10, maybe even a dub here today at the Monster Mile. It's Braden Perez still leading the way. A big slide there from Lozano, Truxell, Lightning, and then Cruz Jr. the top 5. Stover, Monaco, Vargas, and side by side between teammates for the 9th and 10th position, it'll be Parker pulling ahead of Christian Vargas.
There goes Parker in the 14, below Vargas, and he's going to take with him that KFC machine, and here comes, that looks like the 52 Ace Garcia. Haven't talked about him all day, but he's worked his way now into what should be the top 10, I believe. He's had a good run here to bounce back throughout this race. It'll just be interesting to see what he can do now. Vargas is starting to slide back, and Max Sterling was really the biggest loser of Jacob Thibodeau coming up into the field like that. He's dropped back outside the top 10. But not a great day. A day that started very promising has not, what's the word for it? Has not wound out well for him. And Elijah Gordon back there as well, Stephen Colon. These are guys who started up front on the restart, and they just have not been able to find the pace to stay up front. Oh boy.
Up front, we've got a battle for the race lead. No, that was for third. Perez and Lozano are so far out in front, I got confused. So that was for third place, Alejandro Cruz Jr. on the inside. And you saw Anthony McClure making that ballsy move down to the inside, 3 wide coming out of turn number 4. And Justin Zeidel's going to maybe try to do the same thing. Not quite.
Not quite, but he's taking his teammate with him. He is taking his teammate with him here.
See how it goes for the Trinity River Racing teammate. Zeidel still looking for win number 1 of the season. Keegan Thompson, the winner at Auto Club Speedway, was his first win since October of 2020. Up ahead, just to check in, Braden Perez has pulled away to about a half-second lead ahead of Alex Lozano. Again, everybody's really the calculators are on fire in the pit area, no doubt about that. Everybody is yelling on the radio, conserve fuel, conserve your stuff. If they even have a prayer of doing that. Like I said, 40 to 44, 45 laps. And we came down at lap 35. It's going to be really, really close to the end of this one.
It's going to be very tight here. I mean, we've seen some tight fuel numbers be made before, but it'll just be interesting. Oh, that is a very, very tight squeeze there for Elijah Gordon.
That's Stephen Colon on the inside with the wild move, 3 wide. He gets a 2-for-1 special out of that. Oh, Gordon up in the wall out of turn number 2. There's a berm that comes, that's in the racetrack out of turn number 2. It's kind of like Rockingham. They come out of that corner and they just bottom out right at corner exit, and that looks like is what happened to Elijah Gordon. And went up and spanked the outside retaining wall as he continues to slip backwards, checking in up front. Braden Perez is just gone for the time being. 0.8 of a second lead for Perez. He's looking for win number 2 on the season, coming in 6th in the championship standings. Lost a spot in the championship after Iowa 1 week ago. He led the championship after his win at the Daytona Road Course. Braden Perez looking to join Anthony McClure as the only multi-time winners this season. See if he can execute these final 21 laps this time around here for Pacific Camel Racing, who actually leads the owner standings coming into this weekend.
Perez already, like you said, he has 1 win on the season. Would love to add a second, and given that he is in a dogfight here with Monaco, Andrews, Buck, Crown, and Gordon, none of which who he's particularly racing with today. The only one in the top 10 in points that's immediately near him is Alex Lozano. So if either of these two can pull out a win and they get 1, 2, or a double podium for the two of them, it's going to be a huge points day because Monaco, Gordon is fading. Just a lot of guys are fading off here late in this race. So that could definitely be a that's something that just caught an eye of that there. But Perez really, he got the lead, and that car was just able to set sail. He's really gapped Lozano, and Lozano's still running pretty well. It's not like he's dropped back into the clutches of the field significantly. He just cannot keep pace right now with that 47 car.
Whatever adjustments the 47 crew made during that pit cycle, look at that. Fastest lap of the day belongs to Braden Perez, 21.305 for the Schluter Systems Toyota. We're now at 18 laps to go here at Hershey in the Hersheypark 400 at Dover. 1 year ago, this would be the white flag, but 18 more laps to decide a winner here this year at Dover. And again, it's looking like it's maybe a fuel mileage finish of sorts. We'll have to see how it goes. Lozano took off 0.2 of a second that time around.
Someone who does wish it was 63 laps is Braden Perez, because if it was 63 laps, he would most likely be the winner of this race right now. But that is the beauty of a longer race, is that there's more time to make mistakes and make your mark here. And you also got to watch out for this 46 Alejandro Cruz Jr. has picked up a couple wins across all the major series this year. He's really starting to just slowly lurk his way into this picture. He's going to get near Lozano here in a lap or two, maybe less than that. And it'll be interesting to see maybe he can give Braden Perez a run for his money, but it's going to take someone putting in a monstrous effort to chase down this 47 if it stays green and if everybody is good on fuel, because he is just cruising out in that clean air and is very comfortable in the lead.
It looked like Lozano was going to be able to maybe chase him down, but that big slide the last couple laps has hindered his progress. He's basically back to a second behind Braden Perez now as they head down the back straightaway into 3. It is Cruz all over the backside. You mentioned it. A couple of big wins across the series this year. Not one in the Trinity River Cup Series. And Alejandro Cruz is going to sling to the inside and take second away from Alex Lozano at the line. Lozano fights back into turn 1.
Yeah, look at Cruz just absolutely planted that car at the bottom of the racetrack, which we've seen Lozano give up a few of those passes to his inside throughout this race as it's gone on. They both slide up just a little bit there. Now we're just going to watch here to see, and not for nothing, Braden Perez did not really open up a gap that time with Cruz and Lozano battling each other. So I don't know, maybe Braden Perez could be saving, but he also could, maybe he cooked his tires up trying to build a lead, and this 46 did not cook his tires because Alejandro Cruz in the Monkey Racing Machine is absolutely flying right now.
This team, Monkey Buck Racing, only has 2 wins in their existence. Ethan Lewis, the Daytona 500 1 year ago, and then Chase Buck at Rockingham this year. Alejandro Cruz Jr. is looking for his first career win for anybody in the series. Here he comes to the inside for the race lead on Braden Perez at 10 laps to go, and he's going to take the lead away from Braden Perez. As you see, lap traffic ahead, very, very slow. If they stay out there long enough, this could play into a massive factor. Here's Perez slicing back down to the inside as well. Looks like they're going to come into the pits. That's Buck and Collins. So I think we're knocking on the door of the pit cycle.
I think we are too, because I remember Chase Buck the last pit cycle before the Home Depot Alpine got wrecked, and Chase Harris, I remember.
Oh yeah, here we go. He's pitting. With 9 laps to go, coming to 8 laps to go. Stover's going to come down with Perez. The undercut, Garcia, Teague, and Vargas will come down. Colon will come down. The field is very spread out. It's Thompson, Brock coming down into the pits. And we'll see what strategy works out the best here in these final few laps. Nelson, Kukulon, McLeese, Harris, and absolutely take 2 tires for the end of this one. We've only got 8 laps to go. Up ahead, it's Alejandro Cruz Jr. leading the way. We'll see if he comes down to the pits this time, and yes, he did. And looks like Mitchell Collins, I believe he's a lap down. Yes, he is 2 laps down. So the race leader right now on the monitor is Dale Lightning. There he is. Is he in the pits right now? I don't think he's in the pit. There he is. He stayed out 1 more lap. There's Sterling coming in, and that should be it. So now, let everything cycle through, and we'll see who comes out in front. This could be deciding the winner right here on this pit cycle.
This is going to get very interesting here. That 52 car is now in front of the 47, I believe. Unless I miss... Where has some of these guys disappeared to? We'll just see where the timing sorts out here, because it's still delayed out to Dale Lightning in the 5. And I think Lozano's got the ball.
Caleb Rose is going to take the lead. Caleb Rose is going to cycle into the lead of this thing. Just ahead of Brad Stover. Stover's going to be second. Then Lozano third, Monaco Cruz, and here comes Stover. A big dive on the inside. Right into the race lead goes Stover as they're 3 wide just ahead.
Rose, he pit coming to the... I don't even know if he's got enough tire left to make it all the way to the finish at the rate he's going without getting lapped. Brad Stover pulled off an absolutely masterclass undercut there. He pit before Alejandro Cruz did, and he's just gone now. He's just absolutely taken off. I don't know what they did, if they took just fuel only or 2 tires, but that 99 is set sail here, and absolutely nobody's going to catch him now unless he wrecks.
Unless a caution comes out. You're right about that, but we're coming to 3 laps to go. If a caution comes out before we get the white flag, we do it over again. But Stover looking to get back-to-back wins for Polar Star Motorsports. It would be Brad Stover's first career Trinity River Cup Series victory. He's come so close so many times. Will a victory finally materialize for him in the Trinity River Cup Series? 2 laps to go at Dover.
2 more miles to go for Brad Stover to get his first ever TRCS win. 3.5 seconds now almost over Alex Lozano, and what looks to be the 25 of Eric Monaco. So as I jinxed it earlier that some guys were going to gain on Monaco, here he is finding his way into a podium spot, coming to the last lap here, but we are now on the last lap here of what has been quite an exciting race, and it is looking like it is going to go the way of Brad Stover here today.
Out of turn number 2, down the back straightaway, passing lap traffic, Brad Stover. The ones that got away will come back to Brad Stover. Out of turn number 4, Brad Stover, at long last, is a Trinity River Cup Series winner. Second consecutive victory for Polar Star Motorsports. The team, there's his teammate Brandon Hayes, who won last week. Big crash at the checkered flag. Sear and Brock Nelson coming together. Mitchell Collins barely makes it through, and hard contact by Keegan Thompson at the tail end. Upton, Kukulon, and Thibodeau. Nelson coming in. A lot of cars getting torn up at the end of this one. But Brad Stover, where is he in all this crowd? I believe he may have already come into he's already come into the pits. Brad Stover with the shock and awe here at Dover, Delaware, the Hersheypark 400. And you said it. What a wild race we've seen today at Dover Downs. Brad Stover wins this one with an average race speed of 139.851 miles per hour. Alex Lozano second, Eric Monaco third, Ace Garcia fourth, Alejandro Cruz Jr. fifth, then Lightning, Wright, Perez, Teague, and Parker round out the top 10. The top 25 finishing on the lead lap: Smith, Andrews, Truxell, Gordon, Vargas, Rose, Samadillo, Thompson, Upton, Harris, McLeese, Thibodeau, and Buck finishing off the lead pace. Harris 2 laps down, McLeese 3 laps down, as well as Thibodeau, and 4 laps down, Chase Buck. The only 2 cars able to finish this race. Marty Sakala and Roberto Crown Jr., who were involved in that lap 34 pileup in the same area where we just saw the thing happen at the end with Paul Antoine-Cyr and Brock Nelson. You saw it happen live as everyone was coming back into the pits. But a wild race here for sure at Dover. Matt, final thoughts on this one today?
That was a absolutely wild turn of events there. It looked like it was going to be a battle between Lozano and Sterling, and then Braden Perez thought he was going to be able to maybe just walk away with it. And then it didn't really materialize for him at the end, as Brad Stover was able to work the undercut there and steal away a victory from Lozano and Braden Perez. But overall, quite an exciting race today here at Dover. These guys put on an absolute show here today, and yeah, it was a great race here at Dover.
Next week, we'll be heading back down south in Talladega, Alabama for the Sirius XM 500, the last super speedway pack race for the season. Just Daytona and Talladega on 1 dates this year, and then after that, Martinsville, then North Wilkesboro, and then the World 600 before we say hello to the month of June. That's going to do it for us here in the booth for today's Hersheypark 400 at Dover. My thanks to Matt Tuck for coming aboard the call for this one. One more big congratulations to Brad Stover and Polar Star Motorsports. Back-to-back wins for the team, and finally a 1 in the win column for Stover, who came into this one 19th in the championship standings, lost 7 spots after the Iowa race. Stover going to perhaps pick up some much-needed momentum for the final stretch of the season. 19 races remain before we crown a champion. We'll see you next week at Talladega. Until then, y'all take care, stay safe, and have a good one.